Burn Nation. Welcome to the Burn Bootcamp podcast. An incredibly special guest today, fresh off the live, Mr. Matthew Morris. Hey. Welcome, Matt.
Just so our audience is aware, I've been waiting for this podcast because me and Ansley have a very good banter back and forth. She likes to use vulgar language, not on camera like I do. So we'll try to keep this as clean as possible.
Yep. Yeah.
So she's a lot worse than I am, by the way.
Anyway, yes, I am. And so to start that off, let's talk about how much we all love Matt Morris.
Oh God! Don't
if you've worked out with him on the live, if you've done any of our camps on demand, if you listen to him on the podcast, to know him is to love him. But I will say Matt is an incredibly busy person. VP of fitness and nutrition, all of our on-demand content. You organize everything for the app. I don't know how you're like a one-legged man in an ass-kicking contest. I don't really know how you get everything done.
I don't have any kids, so it's...
Well, yeah.
That could be it.
Yeah, that could be it.
Yeah.
That could be it. Okay, so Matt, this is for all the people who really want to get to know you. And I will tell you, if you're listening to this and you think, in getting to know Matt through the podcast and, through the live and everything, you think, he's a really nice guy. He's funny and fun and affable and you want to go have a beer with him. I'm going to tell you, it's actually true.
I appreciate that.
Matt is he's one of our favorite people at HQ, for sure. Okay, so let's get into your story.
Okay.
What do you think, and just specifically to get started, what do you think happened to you, your talents? What kind of person growing up were you that led you to become, the person that is responsible for so much change, physical, mental, confidence? You've inspired so many people. What is it about you and the way you grew up that allowed that?
I would say if you saw how I grew up and the way I was as a kid, you would think there's no way you grew up to be so being so extroverted around people. Mm-hmm. So before I start about how I grew up and how I was a kid, I do want to preface this by saying, so at HQ, at headquarters, and if you have a job, you might have done these personality tests. Yeah. Ours is called Culture Index. And if you look at my Culture Index, the person I am outside of work, my social meter is at a 0. So meaning,
leave me.
I don't. I try to stay away from parties, not because I don't like the people, but because I just like to be alone sometimes.
Yeah.
A lot, actually. Yeah. But at work, I'm a 10. So I had to flex from a 0 to a 10 to basically become a different version of myself. I'm not going to say it's a different person. It's a version of me. So that's how I am. 0 out of work, where I'm very introverted, the introverted of introverted people, and then an extroverted of extroverted people at work. And that's how I was as a kid. My mom used to get mad at me because she would always want to go out to dinner with my brothers. I have a twin and I have a younger brother. And I would always say, hey, just bring me something back at takeout. Or I would come home from school and immediately I want to go take a nap or go down in the basement and be. That's how I've always been. I needed people to bring it out of me. Mm-hmm. It wouldn't have happened with just myself. I think Devin helped me with that when I first started at Burn, bringing a different version out of yourself. And then it's just really doing the reps and the work, not reps in a workout, but just reps in front of a camera and framing language the right way. Yeah. So it's taken a long time. I've been with Burn, going on 7 years. And I think moving forward, before this point now, I think COVID was also a help, though. Mm-hmm. It was a blessing in disguise where...
you were living your best life.
Well, best life, but I had to get in front of a camera and do a workout every day.
Yeah.
So I had to come up with things to say for 45 minutes without being annoying or saying things that motivated people through a screen. So that helped too. But I needed people. I think I still need people to like, you know, I'm a confident person, but I have self-doubts too. And I need people to, you know, remind me of myself of like, hey, you're doing good work and keep doing it. Yeah. And you're inspiring me to do something. So if there's any extroverted people listening to this and you feel like you have a different version of yourself living inside, I think get around extroverted people.
Yeah.
That's what's helped. That's what's pulled it out of me.
Yeah.
Because the first time I put on that mic ever was like, oh my God, I don't think I can do this. And then you do thousands and thousands and thousands of reps. And it just becomes second nature. And I think for the live specifically, it's like a switch in my head before it goes live at 9, I'm in a mental space. And then when the producer puts up the hand, like then I got to snap into the person I am for 45 minutes. Yep. And then once it's over, I want to turn it off and not talk to anybody.
Yeah.
But
so this is a good thing, right? After the live,
this is a good thing. You got me. We got
a limited amount of time.
They know there's two versions of Matt. There's Matt at work and then there's Matt not at work.
Yes.
Those are totally two different people, and that's okay.
Yeah, for sure.
That's okay. But I think they're different, but they are similar in the same way where you get me as you see me.
Yeah.
Like what I say is what I mean, and so.
Yeah. Well, I think it's important that you, you have to go within and like shut down a little bit in order to give as much as you do. I mean, because I've had the privilege of being in the live and I've lived to tell about it. But you like when they do raise their hand and you are live, the energy, it is like the whole place is vibrating. Like you seriously bring it. I think you have to in order for the person that's watching to really feel it and give their all. And
I was telling this story to Ansley before. We had someone on the live today who's done a different type of workout online before, and the differences between ours and the other people is, yes, ours is produced, but not in a way where it doesn't feel real. Yeah. You know, if you look at some of the workouts that are online, it's very produced and it's very choreographed, and maybe the intensity isn't what it should be if you want to get the results that you're looking for. So we try to stay away from so produced and so choreographed to just, we're working out. It's just on camera. It's hard. We're sweating. Yep. You're going to get pushed, and hopefully it's something you've never experienced before working out at home. So that's what I try to do. Yeah. And to kick that off, you gotta bring it. You gotta bring it when I say red light ready. When at 9 a.m. the red light turns on, there's no
go time,
you can't escape. Yeah. So that's what I try to portray through the camera. Yeah. You do it well. You really do. I think that you have an innate. There's just something about you where people really want to do as well as they possibly can to rise to your expectation. And I think that that's sort of kind of the feeling with a lot of the trainers I've come in contact with in Burn Nation. They just have this ability, this expectation of people to give it their all, to challenge themselves as much as they possibly can, to trust them. And I think that, every single trainer we have, they're the top 1%. Yeah. For sure, without question. Yeah, and if you're a trainer listening to this, the two pieces of advice I can give you is if you're going to motivate people, it's going to come through two ways. It's going to first come through how you carry yourself. Like, do you carry yourself confidently around your members? Because that will rub off on them. And then the language you use is also important. So everything I say on Burn Bootcamp Live or on demand is just to get something out of somebody. Yeah. Either in a funny way or like in a motivating way that they know how I'm saying it. It pushes them to do something they really haven't done before. Yeah. So I try to do both. Bring some humor. Yeah. And then say something where that person, when they hear it, knows I'm not messing around. Right. So, yeah. You mean business. Yeah. Yeah. I am still going to try to pay off the content team to put together a compilation of all of your zingers. Yeah, zingers, one-liners. Yeah, I gotta get a list of those. Y'all put it on a t-shirt. Put it on a t-shirt. I mean, it's so good. It's good stuff.
Okay, well, so going back to the way you grew up, you were an athlete.
I was. Yeah.
Talk to me about how that's kind of played a
Yeah, I
part.
think I got into soccer when I was really young. Like, probably, I mean, how old are you in kindergarten? Like 5 or 6.
Yeah.
I started playing ASO soccer. ASO was the league where I grew up in Michigan. I loved it. And then I got better, got into a travel team, started getting recruited for college, played soccer in college. So I've always been around fitness. But I never thought when I was going to college that like fitness could be a career because first of all, Burn Boot Camp didn't exist when I went in college. If you really wanted to get into fitness, you had to go to a big box gym, train people one-on-one. And I knew there wasn't a lot of money in that.
Yeah.
There could, I mean, the top 1% probably make a lot of money. But it just didn't click in my mind of like, go to school for that.
Yeah.
And then, again, Devin called me up and was like, "You want to be the trainer here?" I was like, "Sure." So I think the transformation for me in Burn helped me transform. So I do want to say, like, if you're a member and you look at your trainer and you think that they've always looked that way or always worked out that hard, they could. Not for me. Like, I always say, if I knew how hard I worked now and I could translate that back to when I was in college or in high school,
yeah,
I would have been a lot better athlete, student. So
yeah, for sure.
I think Burn Boot Camp has taught me how hard you do have to work. And even in college, like I was the type of person just get by on the talent I had. And so I had my own transformation. I think when I showed up here, I lost like 20 pounds in the first 6 weeks, which I don't suggest, by the way, but I didn't realize how many steps I was taking a day and how much calories I was burning a day. So I remember going home like 6 weeks and Monica, girlfriend at the time, like I didn't realize how bad I looked. Like I was jaunt and I was like losing 20 pounds. So
wow.
I had my own transformation through Burn, which was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's a good call out. There are a lot of people that, if you are a member and you are just kind of starting out with us, these camps are incredibly challenging. And they're that way for a really specific reason.
Yeah.
It's because you always need something to work towards. You always want to be able to identify that person that's not going to pick up the 20s anymore. They're progressing in their weight. They're challenging themselves. And there's always room for growth. And I think that, like, to your point where those other on-demand platforms they're just kind of dialing it in. And, it's movement, and movement's great, but it's not challenging. And I think that that's where we excel.
Yeah, and I think an argument I've made before on Burn Boot Camp Live is I think what attracts some people to Burn Boot Camp, not everyone, but some people, is that they're missing intensity in their life somewhere. Yep. Either they're not getting the intensity in the relationship they have with their spouse, or they don't have intensity in their job. They're just kind of just going through day after day after day, and they're looking for something to like get some juice in their life. And then they show up to a camp and it's like, what is this? I like it. I like the way it makes me feel. It's hard in the moment, but I think that's the missing piece that we insert ourselves in with the intensity portion. I think, and that's why that's how we made ourselves successful, is we know people need it in their life, and that's what we provide along with other things. But I do think people are missed that. And then when they find it, it's usually at Burn Boot Camp.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Unmatched fitness product.
Yeah.
And that's to your credit, honestly. Okay, well, so being an athlete certainly helped get you, going in this direction. What would you have been doing if you hadn't landed right here?
Well, I had my master's in accounting. I wasn't great at it. The only way I did it is because I had a twin. He came home one break freshman year in college, like, hey, I think I'm going to major in accounting. I'm like, okay, I'll do it too. Let's see who can do better. Good. He was a lot better than I was. And then I got like a year and a half in. I was like, dude, I can't do this. Like 80-hour, 90-hour work weeks, those are fine. But if you have a career you don't like,
right, if
then
you're not passionate,
those 80 hours feel like 150.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
So what would I be doing now? I've always wanted to be an FBI agent or like a homicide detective.
What?
What drew me to that is because I always knew those types of people were always all in on their work.
Yeah.
So like if you're an FBI agent, that's who you are.
Yeah.
That's what you do.
It's
If
in
you're
your blood.
if you're a homicide detective, like you're always on. You're trying to solve things. You got people that are relying on you, like human beings. And I think that's what drew me to those types of roles. And I've always been like curious by nature on especially like investigating things. I've always wanted to do that, but I found out I was colorblind, and they don't.
Is that right? Yeah, they won't take you?
They won't take you, even though like my eyesight's really, really good. Like if you're colorblind, you're out.
Wow.
So I didn't know that. I took a colorblind test, and I still remember the day I walked in the doctor's office. There's a colorblind test where there's a bunch of dots and there's a number in the middle.
Yeah.
The first one everyone passes. I'm like, oh yeah, I see a 7 right there. And he turns the page like, what do you see now? I go, I don't see anything. He's like, you don't see anything? How about, all right, let's try one more. Flips the page. He goes, tell me the number you see. I'm like, and now I'm like, I kind of knew what was going on. So I guessed. I was like 37. And he's like 5. I'm like,
you were this
And he's
close.
like, okay. He writes something down. He goes out. And then that was pretty much the end. I was like, shit, I gotta find something else.
Matthew.
My childhood dream of being a baller FBI agent or a homicide detective is out the window.
Wow.
So, but that's what I've always wanted to be. That type of stuff drew me, and luckily I found Burn Boot Camp, and I've thrown my life into this for the last 7 years. It's
Without
what I
question.
do. It's who I am. Some people say, "Oh, your job shouldn't be who you are." I don't subscribe to that type of thing. I think people say that when they don't like the thing they're doing.
Sure.
So,
Yeah, you are completely all in, and it is because you believe in what you're doing. And it kind of tracks those two FBI kind of thing. You're service oriented. You have a drive to help people and to change lives, and you're certainly doing that on a much bigger scale.
Yeah, I think being a twin has helped that.
Yeah.
I think looking back, like I still remember me and my brother every morning would race to the bus stop, and he would come home crying to my mom, and my mom would be like, just let Justin win one time. I'm like, no, I'm not going to let him win. So I think like having a twin, you're naturally competitive.
Yeah.
And luckily I had that. It was built in.
Yeah.
So I've always been trying to like subconsciously always one up. You know what I mean? So that's my drive to always be good at something.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
So
you do like moving the ball forward, and to work with you is like, it's keep up. We got to keep up with you for sure. All right. So I want to ask a few questions about the live and like the behind the scenes.
Oh yeah. That's where the gold stuff is.
Yes.
Yeah.
So like, describe like what happens. So you get to the studio, you get with the live ladies, y'all go over things, like talk us through like what goes on behind the scenes and goes on.
It's
during.
really a process. That process is what I've done literally for the last, coming up on 4 years of doing live. I get here at like 8:00. I write the workout on the board. I vacuum the floor.
He does vacuum the floor
every day.
He was raised correctly.
I have to do that. For some reason in my mind, if I have a clean floor, that just is part of the live process or any workout on demand. I have like 20 minutes to myself where I like get mentally prepared, and then like the ladies start coming in. We have a great relationship now where, we just banter back and forth for 20 minutes. They give me crap. I give them crap. It's a fun back and forth.
Yeah.
I think that's how people know that I like you, is if I can banter back and forth with you.
Give us shit.
Yeah. That means that's a good thing. And then we go over the workout like 20 minutes before. And then if I have someone new, like I had today, I had 2 new people who was the first live today, is like I really go in depth of how you line up and the camera's there. And don't worry, 5 minutes in, you'll forget the camera's even there. You can just be yourself and you're just working out. So it's just a process I follow.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you ever totally screwed up?
Yeah. So the other Monday I did. So,
what? When I was there?
Yeah. So we were telling the story earlier. Last week I was kind of off the whole week. I was traveling to California, and Monday was my first day back, and there was a lot of people in the studio.
We were all like lot of us were new.
A lot of you guys were
Yeah,
new, and I wanted to make sure that they got the full experience. And what I usually do when people are in, like people that haven't seen it, is I know right before the red light comes on that their heads are down for some reason. And a cue for me is, if I'm bringing it right, is if when the red light turns on and I hit what I'm going to say, everyone pops up at the same time because they don't realize how hard and the energy that I start with.
Yes. Yes.
Right. So I was like, all right, this is gonna be great. I'm gonna have 20 heads pop up at the same time because they're not gonna believe what's gonna come out of my mouth. And I see the clock. It goes 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Producer puts his hand up, and I go, "Welcome, Burn Boot Camp. We're live. Happy birthday!" And I was gonna say happy birthday, and I meant to say happy MetCon. And I like got halfway through the word birth. I was like, all right, happy Monday. And I was like, So I messed up before. That was a funny thing.
Yeah.
And, but usually the funny parts is I always try to find one-liners somewhere.
Yes.
Whatever pops in my head at the moment.
They're
if
the
I see
best.
something in someone's house that can put my mind somewhere, I try to use that. If someone tells me something before the live, I try to use that. So like today, one of the new people got pulled over by a cop on the way here because she was speeding.
No.
So I was like, yeah, Mary Ann was so excited to get here, guys. She got pulled over by a cop on the way here. So I just try to bring real life into things just to get people, I just try to entertain people a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the workouts are freaking hard.
Yeah, I gotta bring some entertainment. Like they're gonna get energy, they're gonna get some education on how to, lift weights properly or breathe properly, but I gotta bring entertainment somehow. That's the hook.
Yeah.
And if I don't do that, it's just a regular workout.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You gotta get some personality in there.
Yeah.
And so I try to do that.
He has it in spades, Burn Nation.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess I'll wrap up with what are people, like something really valuable for Burn Nation to hear? What, if they're doing the live, what do they need to do with our with other categories after the live in order to really push their workout, their journey forward?
I would just say stay curious for one. I think there's so much content on Burn on Demand outside of, Burn Bootcamp Live is like the anchor because we do it every day.
Yeah.
And it's 45 minutes and it's live. That's always the anchor, but there's so much supplemental stuff, even for people that, go in gym to a actual location.
Yeah, sure.
I think the recovery stuff on there is great, especially if you're, new to foam rolling or, you want to get your flexibility better. Like the stretching in there is great. Motion, which is our version of yoga, I think is a great category. It's just, I think if you want different modalities outside of 45-minute workout, we have all that.
Yeah, yeah.
We have motion, we have kickboxing, we have athlete games workouts. I think the content that's going to get released here soon is going to be great too. So I just think just stay curious and just try each content category because you never know what you're going to like.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I did Knockout the other day.
Knockout.
It's so fun.
Yeah. It's just different. It's a different thing.
Yeah.
It's something you are not used to, and I think people want to try new things.
Yeah.
And that's what we're going to try and bring is just new things you can't really do inside actual location.
Yeah.
Try to bring that to on demand just to give you guys the value that you want.
Yep.
Just different modalities.
Yep. Lots of different ways to feel like a badass.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah. For sure.
Well, appreciate your time, Matt. I know you are so busy.
No, oh my God.
Seriously, you're a very busy man, and I appreciate your time. And thanks for sharing all the behind the scenes and the vulnerable stuff. And
we should do this again, and you can ask me even more vulnerable questions if you want.
Ooh, I could make him cry.
You could try.
I could try.
I would do it if you asked the right question.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. Well. Now, who takes us out?
You want me to take us out?
Yes.
So, guys, if you're watching on YouTube, subscribe, leave a comment. Maybe what questions you want Ansley to ask me next time if we do it again. That'd be great.
Good idea.
I can ask you some questions.
Ooh.
as well.
Not as great of an idea.
But wherever you listen to podcasts, guys, leave us a review, share it. We appreciate you guys. And we'll be back next time with a new episode. So we'll take you out as we always do with 2 claps on 2, 1, 2. See you guys.
Bye.